Well, wouldn't you know, it is that time of the week again. I literally just woke up. I've had the most fucked up schedule lately. So, yeah. If you're watching this, then you're watching it on YouTube because I haven't got things streaming on Discord yet. As usual, let me remind you that you do need to jump up the Discord if you want to participate in these live, which nobody ever does, and nobody ever really cares, so. Let me slip over there, and if you are watching this on YouTube, feel free to like and comment and subscribe and hit the little bell icon and all the fucking YouTube shit that everybody always tells you to do as if you don't know how it works. Yeah, so let me jump on over here and we'll get connected. We are voice connected over on the Discord. And now I just have to pull up the screen sharing, which is taking a while, and now scroll on down and pull up the windowed projector, and we'll go ahead and go live. And there we are. Have we got a picture yet? Have we got a picture yet? Not just yet. Let me put on my glove here. Let's get that kicking. It's still putting that together. Steam wants to update. And that's okay. You go right ahead and do that, Steam. You go right ahead and update. Stream is still running. We've paused the preview. There's no image on the preview just yet. Should probably start myself a new document. Let's take a look at what's going on Steam right now. Green Hell? Nope. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel? Nope, don't care. The Mythical Realm 2? Nope. Yeah, definitely not. EA Play. Fuck off, EA. Nobody likes you. Festival of Rail. Amplified 2022. Weekend deal up to 80% off. I don't know. They may have some good stuff. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Fest 2022. Really? Dyson Sphere Program. Mecha customization. Maybe Ghost Recon? No. Alright, so nothing really compelling going on there. I just did my 50th episode of the Minecraft series that I started last month when I was drunk for no real reason. That's a weird thing, you know, when you just sit there, you get drunk and you say, I'm going to do a thing, and then you sober up and you're like, well, I said I would do the thing, and now here I am 50 hours into it, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to do at the next stage. Okay, I'm just kind of procrastinating because I don't really know what I'm going to sketch today. I have been thinking about doing some kind of schedule where I where I have a specific thing that I work on each day of the week and each week of the month and that sort of thing, and just kind of plan things out in advance. I haven't really done any coherent tutorials lately because I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. My apologies, I had to mute the mic so I could sneeze. Twice. Okay, so, and now I'm going to mute the mic so I can blow my nose. All right, there we go. Sneezing accomplished. Nose blown. I don't know what I'm gonna do today. I don't know. Let's just kind of start sketching and see what comes out. You know, I start out with that a lot, and really I need to work on doing more feminine lines. I don't draw necks as long as I should. And I tend to draw shoulders too broad. I do like a one with nice broad shoulders. You have a situation like this. This pushes the breast inward, so it kind of deforms this direction and impinges on the other side. I'm going to try and draw something approximating a decent hand here. And really what we want to try and draw is like the hand up and around the shoulder like this. Let's back that up a bit. So we want the hand to be a little bit broader like that. I probably want to send over here. You got to kind of bump out. And the other arm would kind of come inward like this. And this would be kind of the side of the fingers, and then you'd have the actual front. And there's sort of a, you gotta do a little crease there. Now now you come down here. In somewhat in there. And you got the hips there. Here's the rest of the arm. And here's the rest of this arm here. And then here's the chin. Not too sure about this pose. I need to work more on poses. I should probably go back to that pose reference that I started from a while back. Where did I put that? There it is. My folder full of poses here. So let's find something that looks reasonably interesting. That's not bad. Right there. But not the kind of thing I'm going for right now. Here's a good sort of twisting pose right here. That's supposed to be a JPEG file, so there we go. That's a good pose. You got a good highlight here on the shoulder. You got the, yeah. Let's move this over and, we'll increase the size somewhat. There we go. We got a few good bits on here. We got this right here. Don't draw it directly on the layer. Lock layer right there because it's a. And now I should be unable to draw on it. There we go. So we got this nifty little highlight here. We've got this very good sort of this is really very well established here. And this is the front leg here. There's a very good flow to it. It's got a very good sort of where are the shadows kind of thing going on there. So just kind of going over where the body is underneath the clothes here. This is really an excellent pose. And then here are your clavicles right here. The neck, there are the traps. Not a bad reference on the feet either. That is very nicely done. And here we've got kind of the three-quarter view of the head here. I'll come over here and we'll duplicate that layer. We'll try turning off the reference for a moment. Not bad. I'll turn off the sketch layer. Actually, turn off the copy. I'll come down to the sketch layer. Delete it. Still got the copy. That hasn't actually gone anywhere. Top of the head is there. Had it a little low. Okay, so think a little bit about what it is that I'm working on right now. Let's take a look at this bit right here. Scroll in on this and just kind of take a look at how this works out. We got a little bump there. We got a wrinkle here, like so. A wrinkle here, like so. One here and one here. You see here we've got this stiffer material. We've got an extra layer of material here. And it's causing the material to be a little stiffer in that area. You can see here where we've got highlights and lowlights. When you look in there, there's a wrinkle there and there's a wrinkle there. And you can see right here along this seam, we've got some little bits right there. Those little wrinkles. And you'll see how everything centers around where the fabric buckles. There's a lot of wrinkling in here. You can kind of see the way that the wrinkles flow in there. And you can see right here, you can see the anatomy fitting together underneath of all this. You can see here where the leg buckles right there against the skin, and here's where the thigh comes in, right there. There's our rib cage right in here. You've got the you got the gut up in here. Here's the waist right in there. Here's that little sort of egg shape of the gut inside of there. Simplifying all this is rather a job. Now these, look at this kind of twisting barreled area here. I don't really have a whole lot to say in terms of like instruction here because I'm still kind of studying all of this myself. And here's this little strap here. Kind of that prevents the sleeve from falling all the way down, basically. You got another one over here. This big kind of bagged out sleeve is neat. You get these nifty little S curves. You find as you draw the wrinkles and things that certain shapes tend to repeat. And I'm told that you get used to them and you just kind of know where they're supposed to go. This cuff coming most of the way down the hand is interesting. And you get this kind of thing right here. This kind of bags out in balloons. You get this kind of, because you've got this kind of baggy shape here, okay? What you get is this sort of, there's a swoop and then there's a fold inside of that swoop. I believe that's what they call a half-lock fold. If we just go with the edges and then we put in the dark spot on the inside. One of the things you really want to kind of watch out for when you're drawing is the tendency to only want to draw things that are quote-unquote interesting. Because things that are interesting to draw are not necessarily interesting to look at. And you don't want things to be too interesting to look at all over the place. There's a kind of line of shadow here. It's important to simplify these things as you draw them so you kind of get an idea of what's really important to draw and what's not. And you got kind of in here as you look, we've got this, let me turn off the sketch layer. Right in here, we've got all these very tight, duplicate and turn off again. So if we come right up in here, we've got these very sort of tight wrinkles that all kind of spider out from this one central area because you've got this bend what you've got is kind of, there's a stretch here. So there's no real wrinkling here because the body is stretching upward. But there's wrinkling here because the body is bending inward. So you get that kind of inward pinch where you get some wrinkling. And then up here you can see that down along the arm you just get this kind of falling flow from the wrinkles. You can see everything flowing from kind of right there, and everything's sort of fanning out and across and around. And then as this falls down the arm, you can see that it falls away from the arm, because here's the arm right here, here's the forearm, and here's your upper arm. And you can see that it kind of comes out, but then gravity pulls it down and it kind of bags out a little bit. And then here you've got this wrinkle because you've got the cuff is pushing inward. You've got this force from the cuff pushing upward. It causes this loose, baggy fabric to bag out. Right there. So here's that cuff, and here's the edge of the sleeve as it comes down here, and it wants to fall all the way down, but it can't because it's pushing up against this cuff at the edge of the hand. So it has to fall downward and then kind of curve upward. And you've got the cuff is forcing the fabric to stay up here, but the fabric is trying to come down here, and that upwards force there is pushing up, and it's causing the fabric to buckle and push outward. So that downward force, because you've got the upward force on the inside, you've got a downward force on the outside, and you've got this kind of S-curve thing going on, to where you force this side upward and this side downward, and you cause this buckling S effect in here. Similarly, you've got these smooth falling wrinkles that go right here and just come all the way down. And right here, where it lays across the arm, you see that it kind of catches there. It catches on the arm, pushes upward, and you get this one little wrinkle right there. Similarly, up here, you've got this cuff here. And you've got this smooth falling fabric, but it's gathered in here. And as it's falling away, you get this kind of pulling inward effect up at the top. And you can definitely see that sort of, that recurring pattern of it bags out, and then there's that little bit right there. And what you've actually got here is you've got the fabric is coming up. It's going over and down, and then it's emerging up out of there, so you've got this kind of swoop, which again is an S-curve right here. It's the same kind of S-curve that you ran into over here, where you've got a force pushing one direction, a force pushing another direction, and you've got space in between them. So this one comes upward, and this one comes downward, and they connect. And depending on how stiff and tough your fabric isn't always going to just fall in line like this. Depending on how stiff the fabric is and how thick the fabric is, it's going to push outward. It's going to resist that, and you're going to have less of a swing. So you're going to have that tighter radius that's going to come kind of like that, or even like that. Because that's the farthest it'll go. And depending on how stiff your fabric is, you could end up with something that comes really far out, and you could end up with something that even looks kind of sharp. I'm certainly no expert on the wrinkles in clothes, but I have been looking at it lately. Wrinkles in drapery are something that I just haven't looked at all that much, and I should look at them more. I really ought to. come over here, we'll duplicate that again, and we'll drag the copy down, turn off the copy, delete the contents of the layer. Starting to get the hang of all of this, and let's turn off the reference layer for a minute, and let's talk a little bit about different kinds of drapery. What you've always got is you've got points of suspension where your fabric is hanging. So you have like the fabric hanging down from a single point where it's suspended, which might be like, here's the shoulder, okay? And here's your fabric is lying on the shoulder, and then from here, it's hanging downward. And up here, it's being pulled, okay? It's being pulled over to the neck and the collar. So it's being pulled against the shoulder here, and then here it's just falling off of the shoulder. Then you have things like, let's say you're wearing a kind of open collared thing, and it's sort of loose. You've got this point here where it's on the shoulder, and you've got this point here where it's on the shoulder, and it's kind of hanging in both directions. If it's not pulled, if it's not stretched, then you get this kind of progressively deepening wrinkle there until you reach the limit of how much it's going to bag. And if you're wearing kind of an eyes wide shut kind of apron thing, which, I don't know, y'all are perverts, y'all are probably going to draw something like that. I sure would. So you get all of that hanging downward. But then you also have things like if you've got an arm and a hand on the hip. So you've got like here's the thumb, and here's the fingers that are wrapped around the hip, and here's the body. Here's your arm and your shoulder right here, and you've got here the fabric is kind of falling down along the arm, and then here it tries to fall, but it can't. It's being pulled. So you get kind of a stretching effect there. Now in here, inside here, you get this pinch, and then it's trying to fall downward, but it can't because here's the arm, and it's got to fall down along the arm. And then you've got your cuff right here, and your cuff is going to cause the clothing to bag there. And that's a thing that I'm not great at drawing, and I don't claim to be. Another thing is that because the arm is kind of turned around, you're going to have a sort of twist wrinkle there. Because that fabric, you're going to have some pinching at the elbow, and you're going to have a twist there, and you're going to have kind of a little bag in that area in all likelihood. I think I've got something in my eye. I'm not 100% sure. I know I haven't been drinking enough water lately. That's definitely something I need to do more of, and I'm not doing, is drinking water. And I'm just not bothering with it. And I should. I have the water bottle to make it convenient, and I still don't drink enough water because I'm an idiot. But that's the same basic thing, and you can do that for, like, if you've got a tablecloth like this, you've got kind of this barreling fold thing going on here, and then here you've got this deepening fold going on. And it just kind of does that in all directions, all the way around. And there I go, just like sketching right over top of another sketch again. That's what I do. But, my sleep schedule is so off lately. I'm sleeping such weird hours. I'm having such weird wake up times. Man, you get old and your eyes just start manufacturing glue sometimes for no reason. You gotta wipe it out. Probably another you don't drink enough water thing. May as well polish this off. I will fill that back up a little later. Okay. I still don't really have a topic. I don't draw necks long enough. Necks need to be longer. See, it's like when you look at the way that I draw people and the way people actually look. It's like when you pull this down, you scroll in up here. That's a much longer neck than I would draw. Right in there. I would not typically draw a neck that long, and I should, because that's how long necks are. You go, oh, well, that's just this one picture, and it's really not. Because if I just grab some other picture, scroll in on that, and you can see right here, much longer neck than I would typically draw. So I need to draw necks longer. There's one right here. Again, much longer neck. It's like here's the line of the neck. Here's the pit of the neck right here. Here's the clavicle. Here's the clavicle, and you can see here. You can see where this kind of hinges. She's got this shoulder up, so the clavicle is more or less straight across, and she's got this shoulder kind of down. So this clavicle is kind of down over here, and you can see the line of the breasts, the bust line there. And you get this kind of cantilevered, what they call contrapposto. The hips, shoulders are tilted in opposite directions, and this is very much the kind of pose that people typically do. This is based on classical Greek sculpture. That's kind of where this comes from. And that in turn comes from the Greeks going, man, that looks good. Again, you can see here this kind of bagging out here. But over here, where the shirt's tucked in, you can see it's kind of radiating out, sort of fan thing. Here's this one little curve there. You know what I always have trouble drawing, I saw a really good example of this. This is going to sound really pervy. But when you have somebody that's wearing a bikini, okay, and you're kind of looking at it from an angle from above, like so, okay, there's a way you can draw it where it's clear that there's a space between the skin and the fabric. And see, you know what's a really good example of that is, there we go. See if I can. A really good example of that is Kim Possible, and you scroll in here and you can see that there's this gap between the fabric and the skin. And that is surprisingly difficult to simulate. That when you try and get that look of, The fabric is off of the skin here. That is surprisingly hard to do. It's surprisingly hard to put through in an image. Should probably talk about Kim Possible at some point and talk about the difference between sexy Western animated girls and sexy Eastern animated girls. And close all of this various reference here. There's what was I doing over here? Oh yeah, we were talking about necks. How I was drawing necks too short. I need to make my necks longer, especially on women. Guys can have short necks. Guys can have short necks and square chins. But girls need to have more feminized features. I was really kind of surprised to learn one of the creators I watch on YouTube was scheduled for facial feminization surgery, and I was like, really? Because you don't need it. And I don't want to call her out because it's one of those things that it's like people tell you that that they've scheduled a particular cosmetic surgery, and you're like, you look fine. And on some level, you have to. This is a difficult thing to bring up with. I mean, particularly with the trans community, but just with people in general. It's like if somebody says, "I'm going to get this cosmetic procedure to make myself look more the way I think I should look," and you just sit there, and on some level, what you're objecting to is you're used to the way this person looks, and you want them to keep looking that way. You don't want them to look like a different person, but at the same time, they look in the mirror every day, and they don't like the way they look. And they're like, I wish this was a little different. I wish that was a little different. And from where I sit, I feel like this is a completely different person. And somebody mentioned... It was Jordan Peterson. It was Dr. Jordan Peterson. He said that to people on the autistic spectrum, if you move a chair in the kitchen, you think, it's still a kitchen. It still has all the characteristics of a kitchen. It's an eat-in chicken. Oh, God. I just had this flashback to the movie Girl Interrupted and Brittany Murphy. May she rest in peace. That was a sad story. Man, we're off on a tangent now. But Dr. Peterson said that, like, to an autistic person, if you move a chair in the kitchen, you think you've just moved the chair in the kitchen. But to an autistic person, this is now an entirely different space. It's a completely different room. They know nothing about it. Everything is disrupted, and they have to start over again. And when they're very young or just emotionally immature, then they can't adjust to that easily. The whole thing of trying to adjust to just that one chair being off, that means that they need to get used to where everything is in the kitchen all over again, because you may have moved everything in the cabinets. Everything is a signaling device to them, and it's the same kind of thing with cosmetic surgery, and it's any kind of cosmetic surgery. It doesn't have to be gender confirmation or facial feminization or anything like that. It's just any kind of cosmetic surgery. On some level, if you're on the spectrum, I changed the way my face looks means I have become a completely different person, and now I don't know you. And I wonder how much of that is why conservatives and right-wingers really just freak the fuck out when trans people come out. And they go, oh, I'm going to start living and acting as a woman, and I'm going to dress like a woman, and I'm going to be a woman, and you're going to call me by a new name, and you're going to use different pronouns. And they're like, well, now you're a different person. And I can't trust you the same way that I used to trust you, and I can't think of you the same way that I used to think of you, because you've now become an entirely different person. And you haven't, really. You're still the same person on the inside, only the outside has changed. But you have to wonder whether that's kind of where a lot of these Republicans and conservatives are coming from on it is, if you change your appearance, you have changed entirely who you are as a person. Kind of like if you get a tattoo. They may see it as, once you get a tattoo, well, now you're a different person. You used to be a person with no tattoo. Now you're a person with a tattoo. I never expected you to get a tattoo, so now I have to reevaluate who you are as a person. And I think there's a level of tattooing. There's an amount of tattooing that you get. And once you have that amount of tattooing, then they go, oh, you're a person who has tattoos. You're a person who gets tattoos. But until you reach that level, it's very disconcerting and problematic for them. I've been thinking a lot about the difference between liberal and conservative thinking, because in a lot of ways I have conservative thoughts. In a lot of ways I have liberal thoughts, because in many ways liberal thoughts make sense. But in many other ways, there are things you don't want to change just because you don't know how to make them better. The things the way they are just fine. And when people go, no, we need to change them and make them better. Well, how does this make them better? You know, you're certainly making them different, but are you in fact making them better? And I think a lot of liberals are just of the opinion that any change is better. Change is good. That you make a change and the change moves you forward, but you can also make regressive changes. You can tell because conservatives are trying to do that. Conservatives are trying to make new abortion regulations and make new regulations around all kinds of stuff, really. You can make laws that are regressive. And that drives society backwards. Oh, great. What a fantastic time to get hiccups. But you can make a law that takes the country backward, just like you can make a law that takes the country forward. And asking the question, this brand new law that we've never had before, is it going to take the country forward or is it going to take the country backward? In a lot of cases, that's not clear. It's like when people talk about universal basic income, which I myself happen to support, but it has to be done correctly. It has to be done properly. When people talk about universal basic income, they frequently base it on the welfare model. And the huge problem with the welfare model is that right now, roughly 80% of the funding that we put into cash support for welfare, general relief, Social Security, disability, supplemental security income, roughly 80% of the money we put into that is to verify and confirm eligibility. So if we had a universal system where you were just automatically eligible, then 80% of the money that we spend on that would immediately not need to be spent anymore. And you could use that for more benefits. It's problematic that essentially the United States government, to the extent that they have charitable funds that donate to the underprivileged, to the extent that they have charitable foundations which donate to the underprivileged, like welfare, like food stamps, or the SNAP program they call it now, to the extent that they have these things, only 20 cents of every dollar is actually getting to the people who receive the benefits, and 80 cents is being spent in administrative costs and in just operating the system. And I don't mean to get all political about this shit, and it's certainly not on topic or anything, but that's a really terribly run charity. And when you look at whether or not to donate to a particular charity, one of the first things you ask is how much of every dollar actually goes to the people that you're donating to. And if you've got a charitable foundation that is only getting 20 cents of every dollar to the people you're donating to, that's a shit charity, and you shouldn't donate to them. And if that's the way the federal government is treating our tax money, or the way the state government is treating our tax money in terms of most welfare programs, that's a shit job, and we should be doing a better job. So, yeah, that's kind of an issue. And the idea of universal basic income is a good idea to an extent, but people always do tend to just like assume it's going to operate on the welfare foundation, where it's like, okay, you need your universal basic income, so you put in your application and we go, okay, well, your application is automatically approved, but you're not already working, are you? You're not working and receiving your basic income, are you? And what really needs to happen with something like that is it doesn't matter. You get the universal basic income. It's like whatever it is, the check you're supposed to get every month, or preferably every week, I think it'd be better. That should just show up every day for the rest of your life. And the only thing that ever gets evaluated is the amount of your benefit, and that's it. And even then, I think everybody should receive the exact same benefit with zero alteration across the board. And then what you end up with, see, people always go, well, what if you're disabled and you can't work? Well, you must assume with a universal basic income is enough. You shouldn't need to work. And then people go, well, how do you make them work? You don't make them work. You just let them work. People get bored and they want to do work. People want things and they need more money. People need to blow their nose. There we go. But part of the problem there is we're already trying to do a universal basic income with minimum wage. And we're saying, the minimum you can pay somebody is this, because that's the amount that everybody needs to be paid so that they can afford to live so that they can just have a basic life and the things that they need. But if you're going to give people enough money for a basic life and the things they need, whether they have a job or not, through universal basic income, you don't need a minimum wage anymore. The minimum wage has to disappear. It has to go away. And then people go, oh, but I'm going to get paid crap for my work. And that's because you do crap work. If everybody could just stay home and not go to work, and they didn't have to go out and get a job, employers would have to pay them reasonable amounts of money. They wouldn't be able to go, oh, well, I'm going to pay you dirt. You're going to make squat 50 an hour here. This is going to be an unpaid position to start, and we'll evaluate your appropriate level of compensation in 6 months. And this kind of thing is bullshit. And a lot of that is because I think this also gets, man, we are way off topic. I think this also kind of gets lost in the shuffle. We have made it so easy to start a business that a lot of people are starting a business who have no fucking clue what they're doing. And because they have no fucking clue what they're doing, they're going, I need people to work in my business. Come work for me. I can't pay you, but come work for me. Yet nobody's going to do that. But these people are putting out ads on Craigslist and whatnot. People try to get jobs on Craigslist. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. Why would you go and try to get a job off of Craigslist? Really? That just seems wrong. But then again, it's been so long since I went out looking for a job that I don't really know how it works anymore. I was discovering that when I was talking to my son, and he was just like, I'm trying to get a job and it's hard, and it was just like, I should help him get a job. And then I realized I don't know how to do that anymore. It's very different. When I went and tried to just send out resumes the same way that I always used to, it didn't work. And I had to go to a recruiter, and I put in my resume with the recruiter, and the recruiter does the work of like making it look good to the employer, and I don't get to see what gets sent to the employer, and I don't get to see what they do with it, so I don't know what they do, and I don't know how to tell anybody else to do it, and until you have enough stuff on your resume, recruiters don't give a shit about you, which is really, really problematic for for the kind of person that is out there looking for a job. And it's become a really difficult climate out there for those people. And I don't know what to tell them. I mean, I have the luxury of taking as much time as I need to put something together, but a lot of people don't have that luxury. They got bills to pay. They got a family to support. And I'm lucky enough to have that luxury because I have supportive parents who will make sure that that I have a place to live while I'm putting shit together, no matter how long it takes. But, at the same time, it's very frustrating when you spend 20 years putting together your nest egg so you'll be able to do the stuff that you want to do, and then everything falls apart and the nest egg goes away, and it seems very unfair because you made all of the right decisions and you did all of the work you were supposed to do, and you deliberately put off the benefits and you put off the rewards of all of the work that you were doing because you were saving it for later. And then when later got there, somebody else had already buggered off with the results of your hard work. So that's very frustrating. But let's not talk about. You know what? I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I'm going to go ahead and bail on this. That's enough sketching. Poses work. I don't know what to call this. Fuck it. But yeah, that's the. Yeah, that's the stream this week, I guess, and I don't know. If you're watching this on YouTube, which of course you are, because nobody's in the voice channel. I mean, I'm sitting here, but yeah, we got the last actual comment in the channel is from 2019. So, yeah, people don't really show up to these, and that is just how it goes. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect, and those of you that actually asking about my streaming experience. Oof. It was okay. There's nothing. Stop. I don't care. I'm not talking to you about that. Hey, tell us about your streaming experience. It was okay. Nothing went right. Nothing went wrong. Oh, nothing went right and nothing went wrong. Well, tell us what wasn't going right. I don't fucking know. What the hell, you corporate jackass? I was like, what was wrong with your stream? Nothing was wrong with it. Just, it's not like it did what it was supposed to do. I don't consider that a great experience. You provided what I expected from you, and that was it, and that was all, and that I'm not going to go, yeah, I'm so happy about that. No. But, yeah, that's it. And I apologize for being all political and all that shit, but, not entirely awake. Kind of demoralized about this whole thing that I'm putting together. I haven't done any work on my game in like a month. It's very frustrating. But anyway, that'll be it. Hit the like and comment and subscribe and do all of that shit. Ring the little bell icon. Fuck off with the bell icon. The bell icon doesn't fucking work 90% of the time anyway. drop by the Discord. We announce every single video that I release in the Discord. They come up in the announcements channel, and you'll get a notification, and that works every time, and YouTube is never going to fucking suppress it, and they're never going to fucking have anything to say about it. So that's a smart thing to do, you know. And yeah, okay, bye.